Hi guys, welcome back to another Sports Scene episode, presented to you by NGTV. So, let's get cracking. So, I think first of all, I said we've not done the podcast since Monday, so just run through the Monday games that we spoke about. So Chelsea beat Everton by 2-0. They were goals by Ben Godfrey on goal and a Jorginho penalty. And in the other game that night was West Ham 2, Leeds United 0, which is a big result for West Ham as well. To keep up their hopes. Jesse Lingard was on the score sheet again.
I don't know what's going on there. He's suddenly decided he wants to be a footballer again.
No, and Craig Dawson scored as well. Was the other goal. So just going through those two games first. That was 2 wins needed for both Chelsea and West Ham. Yeah. Do you think West Ham can continue to keep on winning and maybe nick a top 4, or?
It's definitely possible, and obviously big game coming up this weekend against United, but I think on current form, they've got just as good a chance as anyone. I was looking at the table earlier, and it seems like everyone up there has like 3 wins in the last 5 at least, so they're all kind of matching each other point for point, so it's just going to be about whoever slips up first. It seems like Tottenham have won the last 3 now. They look like they're coming back into a bit of form. They could potentially be another challenge, but like you say, Leicester have got a tendency to fall off towards the end, so could be a spot there.
Yeah, we'll obviously speak about the West Ham Man United game a bit later, but City played them not too long ago when they was in that winning run, and that was at the Etihad as well, and West Ham were really good that day as well. That was when John Stones and Ruben Diaz scored for City, and West Ham were really, really good. So I don't. If they carry on that form, I don't think it will be a flash in the pan or anything like that. But I think they are trying to build something there, and we've said it before on a different podcast that probably you need to give David Moyes a pat on the back, really, because I know he did really well at Everton, and then he kind of tarnished himself by the job he did at United, and then going to Real Sociedad and not doing well there either.
Yeah.
And coming back to England didn't do so well, but then he's back at West Ham, and he seems to be doing a good job, like he was doing that. Because his job at Everton, they used to really push for top 4, and they used to be fighting for top 4, and it seems like he's transferred that over now onto West Ham. So I think all credit goes to him, really.
Yeah, definitely. They've got a good squad, so it just needed someone that could manage it right, I think.
Yeah, and I think Antonio up front for him is really underrated as well. As God, if they can get the best out of Lingard, like he was playing for United a couple of years ago, that'll only be a positive for him as well, and he looks like he's on a bit of form as well. Going on to Tuesday's Champions League games, and I'll tell you what, there was a cracking game in Italy.
Oh yeah.
Juventus beat Porto by 3-2, but went out on away goals, which probably over the Tuesday and Wednesday, that was probably the only shock result.
Yeah.
If you would. But Porto were very, very good. Pizarro went down to 10 men. Well, someone was booked, and then he ended up kicking the ball away, and then ended up getting sent off.
The striker, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah. And when I had it on, and I thought it went down to 10 men, I just thought, oh, Juve are just going to take over this now. And then they kind of did, and then the goal they conceded, the free kick, Ronaldo's been getting a bit of stick for it in Italy, to say that he turned his back on the free kick, and then the ball went underneath him and went in. But I thought the keeper should have done better anyway. But he's getting a lot of stick for it, which there's 2 sides to it. I think he shouldn't have turned his back, but I think the keeper should have done better as well.
Yeah.
So it's one of them. That was a cracking game, and the other game was Dortmund-Sevilla. That ended 2-2, and Dortmund went through 5-4 on aggregate. On Wednesday, Liverpool beat Leipzig by 2-0. So they went through 4-0 in aggregate, and PSG knocked out Barcelona. They drew 1-1 on the night and won 5-2 on aggregate.
Well, Messi won the goal as well.
Yeah, it was. He must have hit that. He must have hit it about 100 miles an hour.
It's ridiculous. Shot boost.
It was thing.
Mystery
And
goal.
I had a quick look before as well, and I've got an interesting stat.
Okay.
This is the first time since 2005/2006 season that the Champions League quarter-final will not feature either Messi or Ronaldo.
That is pretty wild, to be honest.
So since 2005/2006, either one of them or both of them has gone past the round of 16 every single season. So this is the first time for a long time that we're not going to be seeing Ronaldo and Messi. Is that an end of an era, do you think? Or
I mean, it's definitely looking that way, and it looks like, we could see Messi leave Barcelona at the end of the season. Could Ronaldo, is that Juventus team strong enough to compete, type of thing? I know they're not doing great in the league, are they? So
no, I mean, and that's the thing that's coming out of it. He's getting a lot of stick for the goal they conceded, and people are saying he was brought here to win us the Champions League.
Yeah,
and I think they got beat quarter final, and then the last 2 seasons has been the round of 16, and they're paying him a lot of money as well. So yeah. I think there's a lot of people in Italy that are saying, he's 36, I think he is, cut ties and save us a lot of money and reinvest it somewhere else. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops as well, and if that's the case, where would he go? Does he go back to Man United?
It is possible. We seem to be one of those clubs where we, if someone's done well for us in the past, we're quite, I don't know what the word is, we hold them in high esteem for a lot longer. Naturally, if a player like De Gea had the last 4 seasons he had, the first 4 seasons, they wouldn't have kept him. But because he was so good for so many seasons before that, it's like loyalty, they'll keep him. That's one thing that's always frustrated me with United, keeping all the players a bit longer than they probably should have. I don't think De Gea's past it, but on recent performances, you would suggest that he's just not quite good enough.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting as well to see. Like you said, Messi's out of contract, and it'd be interesting to see in this. Is it a wild possibility to say Messi comes to City and Ronaldo goes back to United?
I mean,
and to see them to go back to the same league, like they did, like Real Madrid, Barcelona were fierce rivals.
Yeah.
If Messi goes to Man City, Ronaldo goes back to Man United, they're going to be living in the same city. City United, it's just going to take that one to the next level as well. But is that too much of a dream, would you say?
I don't think it's wildly impossible. I mean, Messi's always spoke highly about Pep. City are probably one of 2 clubs in the world that can afford to pay his wages, and obviously Ronaldo's got a strong bond with United and stuff like that, and a history there. So I wouldn't say it's wildly out of the question to see that happen. I personally think it'd be amazing to see that type of thing happen, but whether it will or not, remains to be seen, doesn't it?
Yeah, I say it remain. I'd love to see it happen. Just them 2 both in the. I know they're probably past the best of what they were, but both of them are still posting unreal numbers.
Oh, they're still world class.
Ronaldo's still banging in goals for you, but I think Messi's still the top goal scorer in La Liga and stuff like that. Even though they're going 30, I know Ronaldo's 36, I think Messi's 33, 34. But I think United as well, if they it looks like there's a lot of noise about Cavani saying that he wants to go to Boca Juniors, I think it is,
he wants to finish,
at the end of the year or something like that.
His career in Argentina.
And I think if Ronaldo presented himself to Man United and said, listen, I want to come and play, I don't think they'd turn that down as a...
I don't think you could turn that down.
No. And I think it's the same with Messi, Man City. I think at the start of the season when Messi handed in the transfer request, he wanted to go and play for Pep again.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's wildly out of the question either, but there's a lot of political things that are going on in Barcelona and stuff, so we'll see how that unravels. But there was another game on Wednesday. It was a Premier League game. Man City beat Southampton by 5 goals to 2. Again, that was another cracking. It was end to end. It was a good watch.
Yeah.
I'm a big critic of Mahrez, but I thought he had a very good game. Scored a couple of good goals. The thing with me with Riyad Mahrez is he doesn't do it enough in the most important games.
Yeah.
Like this season, Southampton aren't great. They're lingering near the bottom of the table, and they go and scored 2. He's played Burnley, he scored an hat-trick. But then you look at when we've played like Man United, he's been terrible. In all 3 games we've played this season, he's been awful.
Yeah.
Tottenham, he was awful. All the big games that he plays in, he doesn't seem to do it. And that's the gripe that I have with him. But he had a good game, so I suppose you got to mention it, haven't you? Really, but I'm not his biggest fan, as you probably know anyway.
Yeah. I would say from that game as well, another absolute farce from the VAR team. How that wasn't given a penalty in my eyes is ludicrous.
No, I think if you've seen some of the penalties that have been given this year as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I think if he goes down, he probably gets the penalty. But because he's tried to be honest and stay on his feet, then he's not got it. So they want to take diving out the game and going down easy. But when you get decisions like that, you're asking players to throw themselves to the floor.
Yeah,
because that's the only way you're going to get a penalty.
Yeah.
So I think he was too honest, but it didn't.
It didn't.
I'm just glad.
Game, but...
Yeah, I'm just glad we didn't draw 2-2.
Yeah.
And then we could have got a penalty or something like that. But it was nice to see we bounced back, because we were awful against United. So it was nice to see us bounce back to get a solid victory.
Yeah.
I think that was all the games on Wednesday.
I believe so.
Yeah, but it's just double check. Sorry, but if you want to just go through the weekend games, just preview some of those. So we've got we've already mentioned Man United and West Ham. Just go through who else plays on the weekend for us.
So we've got Man City, Fulham, and then we've got the North London derby, Spurs versus Arsenal. So some big games there, to be honest. I feel like it's like a really big game for United, because again they're still 1 point above Leicester, so it's like a must win in a way, because we can't afford to be dragged into that battle.
I agree, and because it's a game against one of those teams that will be fighting for top 4, it is a big game. And like we said previously, West Ham came to the Etihad and put in a top performance. They've now beat a very good Leeds team as well, and they seem to be banging form. So I can see it being a really good game. I'll say they won't have Lingard. Lingard won't be able to play.
Yeah, and they gave us a really tough game in the FA Cup as well.
Yeah, they're a really good team, and it should be. I think it'll be a good game.
Hoping so.
Probably if I had to choose a team to win, I probably would back United to win. I say they won't have Lingard, which is he's probably been one of their most influential players of late. So that'll be a big miss for him.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure what. I know Rashford limped out of the derby. Is he?
I'm
not injured?
Sure.
Is he out?
I had a little look before, and I think it's still being assessed, like even up until tonight, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, I'd say it's better when you get the team sheet to see who's out and who's past fit and stuff like that. But I know that, as I say, he limped out of the derby, so we're not sure on what his fitness update is. But
yeah.
I probably would back United to win. I think it'll be a close game though. I'd probably go with like a 2-1.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a 1-0 or something like that. It's going to be close.
I agree. Yeah. Let's go. Let's say the other, I would say, big game of the weekend would be the North London derby. Arsenal, Tottenham. Tottenham are picked up the form.
Yeah,
We've,
won the last three.
we're basically seeing the old Gareth Bale now as well.
I
He
know,
seems to
it's
be
wild.
resurgence. So it'd be interesting to see if he starts again. I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't unless there's a fitness issue. Um, if you look at Tottenham and you look at the front three, Son, Kane, and Bale, they're probably one. They're probably in the argument to be the best in the league.
Yeah, if not like potentially one of the best front threes in the world.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what Son and Kane have got like a connection going on, and then
it's like a synergy.
the past, and then you've got what Bale's doing the past 3 weeks. If he can continue that as well, they're definitely in that argument. But I think it's how Mourinho, how will he set up in a big game? Because he now kind of seems to go really defensive. So it'll be interesting to see how we set up for that, because for me, he needs to set up how they've been playing recently.
Yeah, they need to attack
because they're playing well. Yeah. So and Arsenal are crap defensively.
Yeah.
So, but you never know with Mourinho. He'll probably be a bit more defensive. But we'll see.
I think with that Arsenal team, like, you don't want to invite pressure. Like, you don't, because then their front three are just as quick as any other front three. Like, could be one of the fastest front threes around. With Pepe, Lacazette, Aubameyang, like all those players are pretty quick. And then you've got the new young lad that's been starting recently. I always forget his name, but
Okay.
He's been solid as well. So, it's dangerous to sit back against them.
Yeah. I mean, from a neutral, I hope both teams just go out and just attack.
Yeah.
If that game's an end-to-end game, it could be a classic, I think.
Like one of them classic Arsenal Tottenhams, like the 4-4s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
One of those games would be nice.
Yeah, I would say I'm hoping so. I think it's all down to Mourinho. I think Arteta will go out and play how he normally plays and tries to keep the ball and try and play like that light Pep. But as I say, it all depends on how Mourinho sets his team up.
Yeah.
I think that's how I'm hoping he goes attacking like they have done the past few weeks, because that's when they've been playing the best football. If you had to choose, which one would you say comes out on top?
Spurs 2-1. I'm going for.
I think it'll end a draw.
Yeah, it's not a bad choice.
No, I mean, I'm gonna go with a 2-2.
2-2 draw. That's
Yeah,
fair.
I don't think any team will want to lose the game. So I think Mourinho will take a more defensive approach.
Yeah.
So I think that'll end a draw, to be honest. The one game where I think I will surprise you is I see City dropping points at Craven Cottage.
Okay. I was just about to ask you that, because they did have a pretty solid showing against Liverpool, but then again, it's not the Liverpool of last season. It's the Liverpool that have lost the last 6 at home or something like that. So, I don't know if we read into it too much, but I'd be interested to know why you think they're going to drop points.
I think the pitch, for one, Craven Cottage is a small, tight pitch, and I think City play the best football on a bigger pitch, like they do at Old Trafford. I think City love playing at Old Trafford because there's a lot of space. It's a massive pitch. City don't do that well at Anfield because it's a tight, closed pitch, and Craven Cottage is the exact same. And I think we will have a bit of trouble finding those spaces that we normally find. But I think that Fulham have been in a good bit of form, and I think they're fighting for their lives. I've just got a feeling that we'll draw. I don't think we'll lose, but I think we'll definitely drop points. I've just got a sneaky feeling. I don't know what it is, but I've just got a sneaky feeling.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I've definitely been there. I think he'll dominate the game. I think like 3 or 4-0. I just think you're just gonna have a bit too much for them. And I know that you should just ship 2 goals to Southampton, but in shipping those 2 goals, you scored 5. So, even if they do attack, it's going to leave those gaps at the back.
Yeah, I think the City from last night was kind of like the City from last year, where we basically was like, oh, we might concede 1 or 2, but we'll score 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Which is a bit different to how we've played most of the season, because we've had a lot of like 1-0s and 2-0s, and which is not very Pep-like. But last year was a bit more like last year.
We'll just
yeah, it was so we'll just go. You'll score 2, but I'll say we'll score 5 or 6. So, it'd be interesting to see what type of seat turn up. But I say we don't notoriously play well on smaller pitches.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. But I just think that Fulham, because they're fighting for their lives and they need to start picking up points, I think they'll. And I think when teams like that, when top of the league goes to like one of them type of clubs, they seem to get that extra 10%, 15%. So I don't know. I've just got a feeling. I don't know what score, but I think we'll draw.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think if you draw, it's going to be like a 1-1 or something. Like I can't see them scoring like 2 or 3 against you. But I suppose you never know. They had the chances against Liverpool, as we say, but Liverpool and Man City are worlds apart this season. So a random one like to consider for another day, like a debate for another day. Do you think that the fact that like pitches can be like a variation of size is a weird thing, or do you think that there should be one standard like official size of a football pitch?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean,
it's one to consider for another day, obviously. But
yeah, because I think there's like I can't remember which team it was now. It's a team that qualified for Europe a few years ago. I can't remember. I think they were in the Premier. I can't remember what team it is, but they have like a small pitch. But when they qualified for Europe, the European regulations, they had to extend the pitch.
Jesus.
And it really hindered them. They were awful in Europe.
Yeah.
I can't remember what team it was now. I think it was a few years ago.
Yeah.
But it's they have like different regulations, like the Premier League, then in Europe, and then in a different competition, and maybe they do need to come out and just say this is the what
size of
pitch needs to
pitch,
be.
Yeah.
Instead of saying it needs to be either this length or that length or in between that length or.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's where home advantage comes into it. You're used to playing on like your home ground and stuff like that, so there's a lot of things to take in, I think. But it probably makes sense for them to say like this is the new regulation. So when like smaller teams, say if like your Fulham or your Everton, which is a smaller pitch, if they qualify for Europe and then they suddenly say, oh no, you have to largen the pitch pretty much.
Yeah.
It'd been easier to say this is the pitch size. So wherever, even if you're in the Premier League or Europe,
this is the pitch size.
how big your pitch is. So it's probably one to consider, I think.
Definitely. All right, and is that all the football we've got? Can we move on to the rugby?
Yeah, can do. Yeah.
Okay, so this weekend's rugby, on Saturday we've got Italy versus Wales and England versus France, and then on Sunday we have Scotland versus Ireland. I'm going to pass this one over to you as a man that knows nothing about rugby other than England lost against Wales last time, as I keep getting reminded by my child.
Yeah. Well, you can't even make a case for Italy. I think Wales will steamroll.
Wales will win that.
Wales definitely. I think they'll win that heavily as well.
Yeah.
Probably on form, you probably have to say France are going to beat England.
Yeah, you would hope not, but like you say, from the results at least, from what I'm seeing, not
from what I'm watching of England, there's too many missed tackles. They give away too many cheap penalties, and at the moment they're just bang out of form. So, and France are playing quite. I think they've won every game so far. I know they didn't have a game
last week.
Scotland's that was called off, but yeah, I just think you've got to go with the form team, especially in in rugby. I just think England give away too many penalties each game. So I'll probably say France. I'd lean towards France to beat England.
Okay.
But that might tee up a good. Wales haven't played France yet, and both of them have won every game so far. So if France can beat England, that'll be an interesting game to watch as well. So Ireland and Scotland, that'll be a tough. That'll be a tight game, I think. I always lean towards Ireland.
Yeah,
personally,
I was going to say, with my limited knowledge of rugby, I know Ireland are pretty good, so I'd probably lean towards Ireland.
Yeah, I'd probably lean towards Ireland as well. Although Scotland are a good team as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if they. I think it'll be like a one-score result, so it can go either way. But I'd probably lean towards Ireland to beat Scotland. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if France do beat England, and then to watch Wales and France go at it.
Yeah,
that'll be a good watch.
Okay, all right. And moving on from the rugby, we have the cricket. So on Friday, which will be tomorrow, but today, as we post this, I suppose, is the first of 5 T20s between India and England. Obviously, England will be having one eye towards the T20 World Cup that's coming up, so this is probably going to be England's last chance now to start, like, getting an idea of what the best squad is for that.
And I think this is England's best format.
Definitely.
So I said this last time, but during the test, but I'm hoping to see an England reaction.
I think the T20, like you say, the T20 is probably our best format. So you would like to hope that there'll be some results at least in this one.
Yeah, I was they released a little video when they was practicing in the nets and stuff, and someone was there wasn't proper bowling, but they were throwing the ball towards the stumps, and each batsman was just fucking clear and it was quite satisfying to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, we've not got to watch much of it over this test series, so
no, it was interesting. They were just whacking the ball away, and I was just thinking we have got some big hitters throughout the whole team.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's our best format and why we're pretty good at it. But I would say I would put England as favourites to win it.
Yeah, they're definitely up there. T20 wise, I mean, the West Indies are obviously a good team. You know, they've got some solid players. Australia on the day can be a solid T20 team as well, but yeah, I would
so can New Zealand though as well.
Yeah, I mean,
on the day, so
I guess with T20 anyone can show up. 20 overs, you know, anyone can have that wild performance where they just seeing it like a beach ball type of thing. So yeah, it'd be an interesting one. You know, five match series for this one. I'm going to be as bold as to suggest that England might win like 4-1.
I was thinking 4-1.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident when it comes to England and T20.
Yeah.
So I'd probably agree with your bold prediction there and say a 4-1 England.
Yeah.
Solid victory.
I'm a big fan of Owen Morgan and his captaincy, so
yeah.
You know, I trust him quite well there. Yeah, so that's Friday. I believe 1:30 in the afternoon that starts as well, so definitely be giving that a watch. Okay, so moving on from cricket, we move on to the MMA and UFC Fight Night, Edwards versus Muhammad. Both fighters 18-3 with a lot of hype behind both of them. Edwards coming off a dominating victory over Rafael dos Anjos and has previously fought Kamaru Usman. He lost that one by decision. Muhammad is coming off a decision win versus Diego Lima. For me, Muhammad's like, the key to his success is going to be to get to the fight to the ground, which is quite a difficult task against Edwards, but I believe, if I remember right, Kamaru Usman did take him down and pretty much dominate him. So, you know, I think that's going to be where I know Edwards is more of like a, he grinds the fight out, like he wears you down over the rounds. So the fact that it's 5 rounds, gives him more of a chance to do that. Against Dos Anjos, he just dominated him. Like Dos Anjos just at the end looked like he just wanted someone to throw a towel in.
Yeah.
I don't know what way I'm leaning in this fight though.
When was last time Edwards fought?
It was
Like, how long has it been?
It was about a year and a half ago, I think, because he's had the 3 fights with Chimaev fall through. Obviously, this one was supposed to be Chimaev, and I think before that he was really struggling to get someone to fight him, basically, because I think he's like number 5 or something, or he might be like number 3 now, but I just think a lot of the people above him didn't want to come down, and the people below him didn't want to fight him because of his style. So I know he struggled to get fights, but I think Muhammad hasn't fought for like 6 months as well, possibly.
Yeah, I think. I think if I had to choose the winner, I'd choose the one that's on like an eight fight win streak.
Which would be Edwards, yeah.
But then I'm thinking he hasn't fought for, if you're saying he hasn't fought for a year and a half, so that's 18 months out. Without winning.
I could be wrong on that one. I just remember it being a while ago, the RDA fight.
Tell you what, I'm gonna have a quick look.
Let's have a quick check.
I'll have a quick look. Why not?
Edwards. It's 2019 he fought.
Yeah.
In July 2019, so
21st of July 2019. Yeah, so we're looking at a long time out of the octagon, and some people it doesn't phase. Some people can go out of the octagon for a while and come in and just look like they haven't left, and some people it does. You can see that they've been out for a while.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I'd say it's probably the safer bet to go with Edwards because he's on, let's say, an 8. I think it's like an 8 or 9 win streak.
I think it's 8.
Yeah. I'd say if he wins that, he probably gets his rematch against Usman as well.
Yeah, very possibly.
Unless that fight with Masvidal goes through. But I think it'll be harsh for Edwards because I feel as if he should have had a title shot by now.
He probably should have. There's not many other people that have to chain 8 fights in a row and still haven't got a title fight.
Yeah. So surely if he beats Muhammad, he gets that title shot. But you never know with the UFC.
That's what I was about to say.
I think sometimes the UFC will, I think Usman and Masvidal will be the bigger money fight.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why I think they'll lean towards that over giving Edwards the title shot. Maybe Edwards gets the winner of that.
Possibly,
because of the beef that Masvidal and Edwards have had backstage, if you remember as well.
Yeah.
So
soda.
Yeah, so and then obviously you've got Edwards and Usman have gone back and forth and they've fought before, and so I think whoever wins, if they do Masvidal and Usman, whoever wins out of that will have that like rivalry with Edwards anyway. So that could possibly be what the UFC do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing Masvidal and Edwards go at it after the
after the backstage stuff.
After the backstage stuff, yeah. So, but we'll see. But he should definitely get a title shot now anyway. But especially if he goes on and beats Muhammad, definitely.
Yeah. Like, I know MMA maths is not a thing, but when I was looking at both of the records, the only fighter that they've got in common is Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque knocked Bilal Muhammad out, and Edwards beat Vicente Luque by decision. So, it may not paint the picture, because obviously MMA maths is not a thing and it doesn't work like that, but that might just tell you a bit more about, like, Muhammad's easier to catch maybe, or like Edwards is just more evasive type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I usually when I look at records, this is in MMA, I'm and boxing. I don't really. Usually look at the level of where they're fighting rather than if they fought the same guy or if they fought the same guy.
Yeah.
Um, I like that Vicente.
Oh,
That Luke
Vincente
Vicente.
Luque is a
Yeah.
beast. Like, he's fighting Tyrone
Yes.
Woodley next.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
That'll be a hell of a fight. Unless Woodley just
But
doesn't
yeah,
show up.
so that's what I tend to look at, and I just feel Leon will have enough. I think it will go down. I think it will go all 5 rounds.
I tend to think the same. I think Edwards probably grinds it out for a decision.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring something up about the UFC. Sorry, I just want to bring this to you now. I'm not sure if you've seen, but Aljamain Sterling and Henry Cejudo had a picture done together where they were facing off. He's teased to come back to say that he would be interested to come back and Henry Cejudo and fight at bantamweight. So I had a look at the bantamweight rankings.
Right.
Okay, so basically it's fucked.
Yeah.
And you'll see why. So you've got the champ Sterling, who won the belt via DQ. So then you've got Petr Yan, who didn't lose the belt. You've got TJ Dillashaw, who's pretty much ready to come back, who never lost the belt. You got Henry Cejudo, never lost the belt,
Jesus Christ.
retired. And then you've got Corey Sandhagen, who's probably deserving number 1 right now.
Yeah.
If that doesn't scream out tournament, like if that doesn't scream out a bantamweight tournament, what does? Like, you've got what 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 people who haven't lost the title yet. The title's changed hands so many times.
Yeah.
Like, what goes down there? Like,
I mean, yeah. The only problem with that though is how do you do a tournament with 5 guys, or do you do the top 4 to fight against Aljo?
I mean, surely if you're, could you imagine you put yourself in Dana White's shoes, and you've got Aljamain knocks on your door. You know, he's your champ, whether you like it or not, really, over what happened.
Yeah.
And you've got obviously Yan knocks on your door, says, it wasn't really a fair outcome. I want a rematch. And then you pick up the phone and it's Henry Cejudo. I want to come back.
Yeah.
I never really
That's my belt, basically.
lost my belt.
Yeah.
So, and then you've got TJ Dillashaw who rings the other phone. I never really lost my belt.
I suppose.
Can I get a rematch? I want to fight for the title.
The argument you can make with Dillashaw is like, obviously, because he's coming off a suspension, you could be like, well, that's self-inflicted. The reason you lost your belt. But yeah, I suppose if Cejudo wanted to come back, how could you deny him a title shot when he was the title holder, type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, well, he was the champ, weren't he?
Yeah.
Triple C.
I hate that guy
So
much.
So, yeah, it's interesting. But when I was looking at it, I was just like, I can't think of a division that's the title's changed so many hands without the champion actually losing.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but to me, that's got to scream. Like, Bellator have done it a few times. They've done like a welterweight tournament or a different weight class. Like, if that doesn't scream out, tournament, UFC tournament, put those guys in, and then you've got your champion.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
But I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it, because to me, it's just fucked.
That's a great idea, but whether the UFC will do it is another question. Like, obviously they can't do the tournaments like they used to back in the day where you have 2 fights in one night. That ain't flying anymore. But
no.
I suppose if you did it over, say, like the first fights and then the next lot of fights, like 3 months later or something like that, and then 3 months after that you have the title fight. That'd be a good way to do it. They could market that to the hills as well. Like, there's no way that fails, surely.
No, definitely not.
I know it's not the most marketable division, the bantamweights, but it's getting more notoriety with with some of the stuff that's happening. Like obviously Sandhagen's flying knee knockout. You've got Garbrandt knocking a Sun Tzu out and stuff like that. Like there's fights to be made.
Yeah, there's a lot of good fights to be made. Maybe you do the 4 champions that haven't lost the belt. Well, you got Sterling, who is the champ.
Yeah.
Jan, who didn't really lose the belt. It was his own fault. TJ, you could say it was his own fault why he hasn't got the belt. And then you do Henry Cejudo, who retired, who's teasing a comeback. So maybe you put them 4 in the tournament. So you get the semi-finals and then obviously the final. And then maybe you do Sandhagen and Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah, definitely.
In the meantime. It's an idea. And maybe they fight for the number 1. Maybe you say Corey and Cody fight for the number 1, and then whoever wins the tournament, that's their first defence.
Yeah, you could do. I don't know if they'd be too ecstatic about that. I feel like Sandhagen probably feels like he deserves the shot already. Cody's always going to feel like he deserves the shot because he was a champ once. But
yeah, I think it's a good headache for the UFC to have.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because there's some interesting shit they can do. But yeah, I just seen it and I was like, I'm gonna have to run this by the podcast because
you got it, yeah.
It's such a fucked up situation just at the moment.
Oh god, yeah. That's an exciting prospect though.
Yeah, definitely, and I say we'll have to wait and see how that pans out. Maybe Cejudo doesn't even come back.
Yeah, I mean he's teased the comeback a few times. To be fair,
I only think he'll come back if he got a title shot.
Yeah.
So, I don't think maybe he wouldn't if UFC floated the idea to him about having like a tournament. Maybe he thinks, no, I want the title shot.
Yeah.
I retired as the double champ. If I come back, I want a title shot. So maybe that doesn't even happen, but it's a nice idea to have.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, good headache to have for the UFC. Potential is limitless, I suppose. Especially when other divisions are starting to slow down a lot. Light heavyweight. There's not too many. Obviously Glover's the next fight, but then after that, it's pretty much everyone that's already challenged for the title against Jones, just putting them against whoever wins. So a lot of them divisions are starting to slow down. So it is good to have a division where there's 7 or 8 potential people that could be next in line.
Yeah, it's interesting, man, and as I say, it's interesting to see how that pans out and see what happens. But it's probably one of the most exciting divisions now.
It possibly could be, yeah. I'm hard pressed to think of off the top of my head another division that I'm like, yeah, that's a great division.
I mean, I don't think any division's got the headaches that the bantamweights have. Yeah. Obviously, you can go to lightweight and you've got some. I think that's stacked with good fighters, but we need to wait to see what Khabib does. He hasn't. He's still retired, but Dana White's saying he hasn't retired. He still thinks that he'll fight on. But maybe he doesn't.
I don't know if he will, especially the way he was talking up Islam Makhachev the other day.
He's coaching him, isn't he?
Yeah, because he's he's the next title, the next champ, basically. So for me, it sounds like Khabib is settling into that coaching role. And DC said, in speaking to him, he said the transition from fighter to coach has been so easy, and he's following his dad's footsteps. It just makes so much more sense.
I think he would only come back to have a fight if it's like a super fight, against someone. I don't know, if GSP turned around and said,
I feel like that's the only way. Yeah.
I don't see him. I agree with. I won't see him come back and go, oh, I'll have one more fight, so I'll fight Dustin Poirier
again. Yeah.
There's no attraction or anything in that. But I think if someone floated the idea to him and said, like, GSP wants it, do you want to make it 30-0 against GSP?
Yeah, I mean
Like,
that'd be that's
if that's not
legacy,
a way
innit?
to fucking ride out into the sunset, beating GSP, retiring 30-0,
What is
maybe
yeah.
maybe that idea will go. Oh yeah, I'll have one more.
Yeah, I tend to agree. Right, well
But yeah,
that's all the things I've got.
yeah, that's everything. Although I do just want to have a quick mention. The people that do go over to our Twitch channel,
Ooh, yeah.
you can now subscribe. Um, so I say if you're not subscribed or if you're not followed or anything like that, then please go and do it.
Links
We will
down in the
be,
description.
yeah. I mean, we're going to be starting new things on there as well. Um, Obviously doing watch-alongs,
Yeah.
just like your big games and stuff like that. So maybe we'll do it for other sports as well down the line. Maybe even do it for the UFC one time,
Yeah,
possibly.
that could be fun actually.
Um, that's just in the moment in the pipe. We're definitely going to be doing the football watch-alongs, but hopefully we'll be able to do something like that down the future as well. So keep an eye out for that and subscribe if you can.
Alright, yeah, and then obviously, like and subscribe on here as well. Turn the bell on for the notifications, and
Yep.
check us out on Twitter as well. That'll be down in the description. You've got our individual ones like here underneath our faces, and the NGTV Twitter should be linked down below. So thanks for watching, guys, and we will catch you in the next one.